Hi, this is Little Dwarf playing games while rambling incoherently into a microphone. Why? Well, just because I can, and I continue with Harvester Blind. Let's explore the barber shop this time. The dangling television is sure to cause neck strain at this angle. Alien head. An unfortunate extraterrestrial who journeyed hundreds of light years to wind up mounted on a barber's wall. A fancy barber pole secured to the wall with a straight slot screw. Jim Job, who was the high school star pitcher 20 years ago, hangs his aging leather jacket when he comes in for a trim. What was that? Ah, okay, that's the guy. It's a picture of Mr. Pastorelli as a young buck. A picture of young Mr. Pastorelli, spaghetti on his mouth and all. Why doesn't it work sometimes when I click? Colonel Buster Monroe flipping the bird from his B-17 cockpit. It takes a true sportsman to hunt down those dangerous cows. Made of solidified mousse and sticky hairspray, this lovely mannequin is the work of art. That's a very weird sheep with like red glowing eyes. Oh, no! What? Okay, I just killed a I wasn't intending on doing that, although it's interesting that nobody actually objected. And it's interesting that I could. I just killed him with a single hit. Because I'm unsure why sometimes when I left click it doesn't work. Except for its occasional hairball, it's hard to tell if the sheep is alive or not. Well, I would say yes, judging from the sound. Okay, I killed the barber. That was darkly hilarious. Mr. Pastorelli doesn't respond, not understanding English.
Hello there, youngster. You see, them aliens I was telling you about? Well, they came back last night. Cut another crop circle in my south field.
How come I never seen none of them saucers clam?
Them aliens is wily, Pete. You don't cross the intergalactic void without learning a trick or two. You know what Pastorelli did? Yesterday, he gets an alarm system to protect his pole. Only he don't know how to rig it, so now it's all awry.
Okay, what can you tell me about Pastorelli?
The Pastorelli's a funny sort. Foreigner, don't you know? He cuts hair pretty good, but he don't know spit about nothing else. You just ask him to hook up an alarm system if you need convincing.
Alarm system?
Pastorelli shelled out for an alarm system, all right, but he's too cheap to hire an electrician to hook her up. Dang idiot cross-wired it through the fire sprinkler, so now when the alarm goes off, it sets the sprinkler spraying. Tarnation! Aliens looking for intelligent life ought to stay away from this shop, sure enough.
Aliens? Come to think of it, it's weird that the protagonist thinks cows are dangerous and also has amnesia, but it's totally accepting of a supposed alien head mounted on the wall. Aliens?
Well, son, the ways of the alien is a specialized area of woodcraft unknown to all but the wiliest sportsmen. What you gotta remember is, your average alien is smarter than your average human, so you gotta be extra careful building your blind if you want to bag one.
You hunt aliens.
Son, after nailing an alien, you can never go back to quail.
What? You think you can get one of those at a swap meet?
Line your blind with lead to fool their sensing machines. Lay real quiet and wait. Preferably in the woods around the nuclear base. Oh, they love messing around out there.
Why not wait outside your field, Clem? Wait for 'em to come a-carving.
Oh, they do their crop doodles with zap guns, you darn fool. Don't you know nothing? Besides, ain't no place to put the blind out in the field. Now, you listen to Clem Parsons if you want to tag an unearthly being. They cross the void, wondering what lies beyond, all the time not knowing that what awaits them is buckshot.
You said something about the pole as well, right?
Why, that barber's pole of his is his pride and joy. Brought it all the way over from Italy, wrapped all special-like. It ain't nothing but colored glass with some bulbs stuck up in it, but he thinks it's the be-all, end-all. Installed that alarm system just to protect it. Though who in tarnation would want to steal a worthless piece of junk like that? I don't know.
Maybe them aliens, Clem.
Oh, Pete, don't be ignorant. Them aliens don't give a fig for no colored glass. You think if they can build spaceships, they can't make a dadgum barber pole? Crazy hick don't know nothing about science.
Okay, what can you tell me about the lodge?
Danged if I follow you, Steve.
Well, apparently nothing. What about the town?
Danged if I follow you, Steve.
Okay, I guess bye.
Anytime, Steve.
What about you? Howdy, Steve. Is my left mouse button broken? Is that what's happening here? Or is the game broken? I have to check that after that episode because I'm seriously getting a little annoyed at this point. It's rather uncomfortable. And I'm afraid to click the right mouse button because because it's going to kill the barber.
Howdy, Steve.
Yeah. Howdy back, Mr.
Pete Swell, Steve. Don't you pull my old leg now. Change your mind about that aluminum siding?
What are you talking about?
I really think you should talk your father into buying some. He can afford it. And I can't stress enough the value of some really fine aluminum siding. Keeps it warm in the summer, cool in the winter, and it keeps out the sheep. Pastorelli ought to look into some, but I can't get him to understand a word I say.
What even is aluminum siding?
Steve, aluminum siding can't get a fair shake no more. Started when those firemen came to harvest, filling people's heads with newfangled notions like color coordination and interior design. You can paint aluminum, you know, if you want to. But even so, I can't seem to move it anymore. Not even to a rube like Pastorelli. Thank God for the plumbing.
What can you tell me about Pastorelli?
Pastorelli's a rube from way back. Ask Clem Parsons how he followed up with the alarm system in here. I'm a plumber. I could fix it for him, but he just won't listen.
Plumbing?
Well, I seen the end coming for the aluminum siding gang, so I took a mail course and learned how to be a plumber. Now, there's a business that never lets up. You'd be surprised what people flush down the toilet.
Okay, do you know anything about the aliens?
Stop funning around now.
Apparently no.
Stop funning around now.
What about the lodge?
Stop funning around now.
Nothing as well.
Nice to see you again, Steve.
Okay, let's continue the exploration of the town. There is the missile base right here, which I probably am not going to be admitted to, right? It's a military base. Oh, there's a guy without legs guarding the front gate. Extreme danger, keep away from the fence. And there's a bunch of nuclear missiles in this little village of 51 people. B-17. These aircraft appear to be well maintained. This base is well stocked with missiles. Oddly enough, this guard booth is the only building on the base. Okay, I am going to save, because the game actually told me to save periodically, especially before trying dangerous things. And, you know, seeing how there's a bunch of nuclear missiles around, that very well might be a dangerous situation.
Oh, who goes there?
They tell me my name is Steve.
All right. This is Section 21. Keep your distance, son. I wouldn't want to have to blow your head off.
That makes two of us.
So you're the amnesiac, huh? Just another draft-dodging ploy the way I see it. But at least you're not an alien. You see their ships every now and then. Sometimes swell bags one in the woods.
Who are you?
Colonel Buster Monroe, commander of the Harvest Nuclear Missile Installation, keeping America safe from those who would dye our flag red, white, and pink.
These are nuclear missiles?
Goddamn right they are. Every one of them ready to rain death on the Ruskies. All I gotta do is hit the button and blammo! The price of vodka goes through the roof. Along with the vodka.
Well, I suppose you have, you know, safeguards against accidents?
Safeguards? Don't be such a weak sister. There are no safeguards. This is the 50s.
Then you have sole control of the, missiles.
That's right. Been in charge here since WW2. When I got my lower torso shot off in the war. Those pantywaists in Washington wanted to stick me behind a desk. To hell with that. They owed me. I left my legs in Dusseldorf. They owed me. Of course, they felt that after the trauma of having to crawl from Germany to England trailing my intestines behind me, I was too emotionally unstable to continue in the military. That's why they gave me this nice cushy job and put me in charge of the nuclear missiles.
Yeah, sure, that makes a lot of sense. Like, clearly everyone is insane in this place. Because they put an emotionally unstable man in charge of several nuclear missiles set in a remote village with a supposed cult of presumably crazy people running things. No danger at all. No danger at all. What can you tell me about the button to control the missiles?
Why are you asking about the button, son?
I'm just a little nervous about it. I mean, suppose an accident happens.
Don't get your panties in a bunch, mister. The button is perfectly safe. I keep it on my person all the time. No commie bastard is getting his mitts on this button. No siree, Bob. No one initiates a nuclear holocaust in Harvest except me. Now, doesn't that make you feel better?
Actually, it doesn't. What about the nuclear holocaust?
Son, when you've had your body shot in half, you know a thing or two about fear. You learn that when something actually happens, it's never as bad as you imagine it would be. Oh, sure, I can't write my name in the snow. I had to shell out a few simoleons for portable IV drips, colostomy bags, and so on. The pain is hardly what I'd call constant. I have my good days when I pass out completely. We're never asked to endure more than we're capable of handling, mister. Folks would die in a nuclear holocaust, but nobody would die who wasn't going to die anyway, sooner or later. And the rest of us? Why, we'd take a little R&R at the old radiation bunker, climb out in 2 weeks, and go back to work, refreshed and ready to contribute as productive members of society. Makes me wonder why I don't just push the button and take me a nice vacation. Can you give me any reason why I shouldn't?
Well, I'm not going to initiate nuclear holocaust, even though I am kind of tempted to try. It would be nice, Colonel, but we all have to follow orders.
You're right, soldier. I'm sorry. Sometimes the intense pain clouds my mind. The kookaburras start whispering to me about the pretty mangoes and the high trees, and I know they can see me. They see all of us. Can't you hear them? Chattering with the llamas behind our backs? They want our cornflakes, but they won't take the milk!
Okay, he's completely insane. I don't even know what kookaburras are.
Have you lost your mind? You think you can toy with me just because I have no lower torso, you damn kid, you? Or maybe you're one of those commie bastards.
Commie bastards.
Frankly, all these questions are making me a little suspicious of you. Maybe you're one of those pink-blooded Americans. Can you give me any reason why I shouldn't shoot you right now?
You can't shoot me, I'm an American. I have rights.
Rights, huh? Your average commie bastard is always only too ready to hide behind the Constitution. Real Americans waive their rights for the common good. Would you?
I think it's a trick question. I think he expects me to say that I would. But even if he kills me, it is a game. I can just reload. But I think it's a trick question. I think if he says, if I say I would not sacrifice my rights for the country, he's going to be like, oh, you're a commie bastard because you refuse to sacrifice for the great America. So I would, for this great country of ours.
You talk a good game, mister. But so does your average commie bastard. The Kremlin teaches its agents to talk their way out of a scrape. What do you think about that, son?
Well, what would he expect me to say? I think this is a bit too... like a bit too convoluted of a response. I think he might think me a smartass if I say that. I'm going to say this. I don't think much about stuff like that, Colonel.
Glad to hear it, son. You had me going there for a minute, asking all those questions about this base. Came this close to getting blown away. As it is, maybe you ought to get out of here before I change my mind. Go visit those Ponzi firemen. But whatever you do, stay away from that damn lodge. That's the most suspicious place in Harvest, if you ask me.
What about the firemen?
I wanted to get back into the thick of the action and out of this desk job. But those firemen are a damn peculiar bunch of ladies. I thought they'd object to my lack of a lower body, but they wouldn't let me join the fire department because they said I couldn't draw naked men. Can't draw naked men? Who the hell wants to? I could draw one if I was a sick commie pervert. Look, I did this last night. What do you think?
Screw you. Again, I feel like that's a trick question. I think art's for commies.
You don't say. Then you'd better go reconnoiter the fire station, mister. There's a lot of art going on over there. Determine if commie infiltration has occurred in Harvest. And report back here. Your report could make the difference in what I decide to do.
About what, Colonel?
Never mind that, son. It's easier if you don't know.
What about the town of Harvest?
Harvest is a fine town, steeped in traditional American values. But that lodge, well, Well, it makes me suspicious, don't mind saying it. They've got their fingers into everything around here. Like a certain red commie bastard menace which shall be nameless.
I'll be sure to stay away from it, or at least that's what I'm telling you.
You read me wrong, mister. I think you should join the lodge, infiltrate it, and report back on any red sympathizers.
Oh,
Your report could affect my decision on what I've got to do.
okay, commie bastards, did I ask about this?
Frankly, all these questions, can you give me any...
Okay, so it just repeats.
Right. You talk a... Glad to hear it. Remember, duck and cover.
What else can we talk
Hold.
about?
Who goes there?
It's just me, Steve.
What do you want? Did the llamas send you?
No, I think it sounded as if being sent by the llamas is a bad thing. The llamas fear me.
That's good. Someone has to keep them in check. I'm glad you stopped by again. I want you to infiltrate those firemen, mister. There's a lot of art going on over there. I want to make sure they haven't turned into commie bastards. You got that? And don't come back unless you've got information for me.
Yeah, but there was a bunch of topics which I've already sort of forgot. It's a bit annoying, the conversation system in this game. I think it's wrong for the options to keep disappearing. But something about the lower torso?
You say before you came to harvest, your lower torso was shot off in the war?
That's right. I was behind enemy lines. The night was dark. The rain wet. Plastique I was supposed to rig the bridge with, precariously sandwiched between my knees as I crawled in the muddy mud. I didn't see the Jerry taking aim at me with his machine gun until half of me was flying through the air. With a quick spray of bullets in a straight line, he'd shot my body clean in two. My lower body landed at that Jerry's feet. I can still hear him laughing as I started crawling in the general direction of England, calling behind me in broken English.
Mein Freund, where is your legs? Looky, what have we here? Some legs? Hey, did anyone lose some legs?
I'll never forget looking back over my shoulder and seeing that crowd doing the can-can with my legs. Still a few weeks later, with only my compass and a pair of nylons, I made it back to safety. Now the Krauts are our friends and the commie bastards are our enemies. But even so, there's at least one crowd out there that I'll never invite over to Sunday dinner.
Okay, unfortunately I forgot the other, like there was a bunch of options initially, but I forgot most of them. Lodge?
I don't follow.
Okay.
Remember, duck and cover.
Let's keep going. I am not going to visit the lodge yet. Oh, Geen Memorial is a school. But still, might be a school named after Ed Gein, the serial killer. It wouldn't surprise me, seeing what I've seen in Harvest so far. I am not going to the lodge yet, because it seems such a central element of the plot that I think I'm going to visit it last, just to get a good bearing of the overall layout of the city first. So let's visit the meat plant, where I supposedly work, by the way. Harvest Meats Incorporated. A red brick building with horrible stench coming from within. Okay, those animals are still alive because they are moving. Also, I'm pretty sure that's a cat. Are we eating cats in here? Well, I presume so. Whatever is in these barrels smells really bad. This used to be a kitty cat. Yeah, this is his upper half. The carcasses of several small animals.
Steve, how's your father? Is he better?
About the same, I guess.
He's been away from work for weeks, and when I call your house, your mother won't let me talk to him.
I haven't seen him either.
This is a fine kettle of fish, I must say. Though I am glad to see you taking an interest in the business in your dad's absence.
Who are you?
Aw, Steve, I didn't want to believe that amnesia hokum. Now you're saying you don't remember your pal Pat O'Reilly?
What about my dad's illness?
What exactly is wrong with your dad?
I don't know.
I wouldn't worry about it too much, Steve. You should be thinking about running the family business one day. That, getting into the lodge.
What about the cats? Is that mostly what we're eating?
What's with all the cats? This a slaughterhouse or a kennel?
Oh, them? They eat the scraps, that's all.
Yeah, but look at... Isn't there some kind of health department that keeps tabs on these things?
Are you going to work at the health department, Steve? Or here?
Well, you do seem defensive. And that's, I wouldn't be surprised at this point if they butcher people in here as well. That seems what the game is sort of trying to set up. Generally, horribleness in every direction.
Maybe I get sick of do-gooder busybodies sucking around here all the time. A man's up to his elbows in guts all day, every day. What more do they want from him?
Well, family business.
You may come to realize that this business is not for everybody. Just ask your poor, ill dad. It takes dedication and a strong stomach. A lot of times, when I'm finished scrubbing up and digging the bits of intestine out from my fingernails, I must confess I don't have much appetite for red meat. But red meat is one of the principal food groups, and you've got to have it. So when you can do this all day and help yourself to a juicy red steak afterwards, then by golly, you can call yourself a butcher. Of course, amnesia would certainly help that, wouldn't it?
Actually, I've read somewhere that it's not uncommon for, people working at slaughterhouses. They have, there is a not insignificant effect on mental health, which is not difficult for me to believe. To be honest, even though I am a meat eater, I wouldn't be able to butcher my own food. And I don't necessarily think that makes me a hypocrite, because in the same vein, I do use the toilet each day, but I wouldn't be able to, effectively fix it, or, I wouldn't be able, how is it called in English? If someone is not is not connected to the sewage system, but has like a, what is it called in English? Like a place where they dump all of the excrement, and then an external sort of cistern track has to siphon it. So, if I had one of those, I could use that. If that was my option, I would probably, if that was my only option, I would probably be happy to have that, but I wouldn't be able to actually, empty it. So I don't think that specifically makes me a hypocrite. But you can't deny the meat industry is like built on mountains of cruelty to animals. Not even in the fact of killing them. Obviously, that's cruel as well. But the fact that they live their whole lives in cramped and horrible conditions just to be eaten, it's very different to what it used to be when we kept animals like on a farm or something, because you wouldn't eat, for example, a cow until it was actually old. You would keep it for milk, and same, for example, with sheep. You would keep them for wool. You would only kill them and eat them once they were old. So they had a bit of actual life up until that moment. Whereas in the meat industry, when the food production industry at large, they are, you can't even say they have any kind of semblance of actual life. They are just kept for our consumption from birth. So, if anything, that might make me a hypocrite, realizing that and still eating meat. Unfortunately for me, over the years, I've sort of became convinced that vegans are actually right, like from a moral standpoint, but I am too weak of a person to be able to resign from eating meat. That's why I hold very high stakes and very high hopes for plant-based substitutes for meat. Once they get to the point where it's actually difficult to differentiate them, I would gladly switch to a plant-based substitute, even if I had to pay more. But coming back to the meat, tell me more about it.
Come to think of it, I don't see any cattle around here. Where do you keep the animals?
Does it matter? The end product is all the customer cares about, Steve. And we only carry the finest meat, only the juiciest cuts. Once you take over the business, you'll realize the importance of maintaining quality while cutting costs. We know what we're doing here, Steve. If we didn't, would the lodge use us to cater their affairs?
I'm sure it could. Spoiler alert, I'm actually not, but I'm going to say that. Could I have some meat to take home?
Your father's very particular about the profit, Steve. No freebies for anyone. But seeing how you're his son, if you'll bring written permission from your father, I'll give you the meat.
Cutting costs, you say?
There are certain tricks of the trade, Steve. Once your dad gets better and you start working and you're cutting up the meat, you'll be privy to them. There's always cheaper, better ways to do things, if you're creative.
Okay, there was something more about my amnesia.
Look, I'm not kidding about the amnesia. Why won't anyone believe me?
Well, you always were such a kidder, Steve.
Funny how that's beginning to sound like a stock answer. Like it was coached.
You sure are acting like a kidder, son. With your dad ill, you're gonna need to start behaving like an adult, especially if you're gonna take over the family business.
Yeah, but there was also about the lodge.
The Order of the Harvest Moon sponsors a weenie roast on the lodge grounds every summer, which we cater, though they tend to get their meat elsewhere the rest of the year.
I wonder why.
Heck, the best way to find out is to sign up with them. They're a great organization, Steve. They do wonderful work, just like us butchers. They do what needs to be done and expect nothing in return.
Then how do they support themselves? Membership dues?
From what I hear, the work is its own reward.
Okay.
Don't be such a stranger, Steve. Have my best to your dad.
Okay, this episode has been long enough. Oh, bloody tire tracks. Okay. This episode has been long enough. Can I save while in here? I can't. So let me stand here and save. And end it for now. That's all for this one. And I will see you in the next one. Bye.